JT, do you have time to talk about what Biarri does?
Of course I do. Let's go. G'day, I'm John Tate. I go by JT. I'm the Vice President of Design Services here at Biarri Networks. I've been with the company for about 11 years. I've been lucky enough to do a range of things over that time. Right now my team includes our technical consultants that stand up our tech for our services customers, as well as our engineers.
Oops!
We're good? So our engineering process, first and foremost, is to get all the stakeholders for our project together for what we call an establishment. Those sessions happen over 1 or 2 days, and we really try and get the network owner, permitting entities, the construction contractors, anyone who's going to be involved in the engineering and the building of this network in the room. We'll walk through and actually document the engineering standards that are going to be used to design the network. Some customers have an engineering document that they've got, which is great, but if they don't, we'll actually help build that out and hand that back to our customers as their engineering spec that they can use as their standard going forward. Following that, we jump into a pilot design, which can be on 500, 1,000 homes, where we'll actually generate a fibre to the home design and walk through that design in a great level of detail with all those stakeholders, gather their feedback and make sure that the design that we've produced is the design that they intend to build and intend to operate. We may iterate through that a couple of times, make sure that we understand the requirements, that the outputs are as expected, and once we get sign off on that, then we can hit the go button on producing designs, whether that's ramping up and doing 20, 30,000 homes, or doing another 1,000 every week to keep construction crews busy. Get out into the field, validate the constructability of those designs, generate detailed low-level designs with detailed bill of materials and bill of quantities, and finally generate a set of construction prints and permits that we can either go and get the permits approved or hand over to construction vendors to go and build. One of the things that customers probably don't realise happens is there's probably about 300 or 400 validation checks that happen at every stage of the design. Not only is rules baked into our algorithms, but we have separate validation tools that gets run throughout the process. What that allows us to do is make sure when we deliver designs to customers that it is compliant with the specifications, with all the requirements, and where it isn't, we can actually call that out and talk through those decisions that have been made when we deliver designs to customers. One of the things we do when we set up a new customer and run our establishment sessions is get engagement with the permitting entities early on, understand their requirements for getting permits approved, and feed that through to our engineering team as early as possible. So we reduce the risk of getting kickbacks or having to make changes once we actually get to construction packages and submitting permits. So one of the things that sets us apart is our experience in a wide range of fibre to the home builds means that we have a deep understanding of the different trade-offs that are made throughout the process. And I think that's a really, really valuable asset we can bring to any project, is helping our customer understand what those trade-offs are, what the decisions that they need to make about their network, whether it's the type of equipment to be used, what construction methodology they're going to use, how their actual fibre architecture is connected together, what the cost trade-offs are, what that means for construction, what that means for operation. We have a really deep understanding of that. Yeah, you're just going to have to cut this together.
Yeah.
That ability to help our customers understand those trade-offs and understand the impacts of the decisions they make at the start of the project and throughout the engineering process is incredibly valuable. It's meant sometimes significant changes in the network that they want to build that's ended up in either a faster construction or a more fit for purpose network at the end. So helping our customers understand those trade-offs and the impacts of the decisions early on in the process and throughout the engineering of the network is really critical. We have the ability to run different scenarios, different architectures, different rule sets across a single design area that really highlights whether it's cost or speed that's the priority. We can highlight what those decisions are going to mean during construction and into operation of a network. Whether that's looking at using traditional 1.25" conduit versus microduct or multipath, whether it's looking at the cost implications of a centralized versus a distributed split, or using fiber distribution hubs versus straight spliced cables, we can model all those different options and have a look at what the impacts are on the overall network. We've got a customer on the East Coast that brought us in a couple of years ago, and they had some existing network that had been built, and the as-builts were spotty at best. And we were trying to, they were trying to grow rapidly and expand off the back of that network. We were actually able to come in, inspect that network, model it accurately in our tool, and build network off the back of that existing network, even though what they had to work with was pretty poor quality. So that enabled them to expand rapidly because they already had active COs and active light in that fiber, and hit homes pretty fast. One of the things we consistently hear from customers, especially early on in the process, feasibility and high-level design, is they're impressed with the level of detail in our outputs. We produce fairly detailed design outputs, even at the feasibility stage, which allows our customers to understand at a granular level what their costs are going to be, and builds their confidence that their costs won't exceed their estimates in a project. Stakeholder engagement is critical for us. We do run establishment sessions with every new client, and we try to get engagement from not only the end client, but the permitting entities, the contractors who are going to be building the network, and the community where available. We like to ensure that everyone that is going to be involved in this network understands the process we're going to take to engineer it, has an ability to have their voices heard and have input into that process. And we find when we do that early on in a project, it sets every project we have up for success, because everyone feels like they're engaged from the get-go. No one's surprised at what's happening down the track. That'll do.
How do you feel about that?
I don't feel great about it, but I feel okay about it.
I think it was good.
Okay.